Welcome to the B.S.ing with the Guys show. We're back at it. Tonight, we're going to try to get into a few of these topics here, more details about this suspected J6 pipe bomber and any kind of new news that's going on with that. CNN, of course, being CNN, and I'll tell you why. U.S. is over there just knocking out more of these drug boats. CDC no longer recommends a certain vaccine for infants, which I think is way overdue, so we'll get into that too, and whatever else our fucking minds bring us to. But before we get started with all of this mess, Justin, I wanted to see if you had any ideas, because according to Trump, the real football, is soccer, of course. So and it's kind of joking, but he said something about we need to change the name of what we call our American sport. So then it got me wondering, like, what would we call it? Like, if you had to think of a name, because everything else just sounds so fucking dumb. It's like I can't even.
Dude, I don't know what else you call it, but I mean, it really, I guess, doesn't make too much sense to call it football, right?
No, right. That's kind of what I start thinking whenever I hear somebody say anything about it. It's like, yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, I don't know what was going on back in the day when they first invented the sport, because I know, for one, the forward pass wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the obvious would be handball, but as dumb as that sounds, I guess football would sound stupid too if we didn't already call it that, but handball's already a sport.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's already a thing.
So that's
why don't we just call it soccer?
We'll just take that from.
Yeah,
they got be bitching
football.
Yeah, we'll just call it. I don't on X. I put we'll just call it rigged. That'd be a good name for the whole fucking league. But no, it really got. I'm like, what the hell? Nothing even sounds right. Like, what is short and sweet and kind of get straight to the point of what the sport is? I mean, it's such a weird one if you ever had to rename that shit.
I don't know what you were, because it's not a simple sport. You know what I mean? It's not.
No, it's not just where, like, maybe baseball. You got a ball, you run into the bases. Okay, we'll just call it baseball. With football, there's so much. I don't know. I mean, there's guys in helmets. I don't know what the fuck you would.
They should call it B.S.ing with the guys, dude.
I like it. What's up, Matt? Matt, I got your address. We're sending you a hat soon, so it's coming, brother. Believe me, I'm gonna get that in the mail soon for you. But anyway,
what up, Matt? See you waiting, dog.
Yep, Matt was waiting. We were running a little bit late tonight, but we are here. So, all the good things come to those who wait. Now, Matt pipe bomber, I don't know how much of this news you saw of that.
Not a ton, honestly. Just they kind of made an arrest, and
and I'm looking. It's Alex Jones, of course, already starting his shit. That he's pulling up because of what Grok is saying, that the picture of this guy and the video of that person walking with those bombs at night, they don't match up, like the body build. So I'm like, oh Lord, here we go. Here we go. Leave it to Alex Jones.
Video though, right?
Not really. It's some grainy ass shit, but he's got some, of course, going through the whole spiel of breaking it all down and measuring the arms and shit. And I'm like, oh, it would take him, to get that kind of shit sparked up. Because then it makes you start wondering, like, damn, I wonder if they are just kind of, pinning it on somebody. Because this guy that they got, I mean, he's like, it's hard to tell who he's even affiliated with, because he supposedly, if it's him, he set a bomb out by the DNC and a bomb out by the Republican National, Convention. So yeah, it was like both people were targets, both groups that night. And of course, they're saying he had these, his ideologies of like anarchy and shit like that, and anti-government.
Mm-hmm.
But then you're seeing other reports that, he was kind of upset about the 2020 elections being stolen from Trump. So I don't even know where you go with this guy. It's like they're just throwing this shit all over the place right now. Then they
So,
got
I mean, does he have a social media or
I don't know. I haven't seen a lot about that, honestly. I mean, now
right?
they did say that he, to get that idea that he had this anarchist, mentality. They used the word writings, quote. So apparently they saw something, and I don't know much about his online history, but apparently something was there, and it looks like they've had their eyes on this guy for a while. And I was on here last night talking about it, and it's the details that they that led to him. I don't know what led them to him, but once they targeted him, they were looking at his cell phone records, and his cell phone was pinging off of towers near, the where all this was going on with the J6 stuff and all. So apparently he was in the area. And then they started looking at receipts of materials that he bought from Home Depot and tying all that in together. Well, to even be looking at all that, they had to have, had
Yeah.
them in their sights. So what led them to that, I haven't heard yet. But, apparently they had been watching this guy for a little while.
So
They,
Bob Breck was wrong, or what's Brad's guy's name?
Glenn Beck,
Oh
Bob
yeah,
Breck. Yeah, I mentioned that too last night, man. Glenn Beck put this lady cop all on blast, blaming it all on this lady, saying that, basically she was the one, that they've got proof and they're gonna show it, and I mean, put this lady's face everywhere, and it wound up being bullshit if this story's true, if the
yeah.
suspect they have now.
Do you think she would have any legal recourse to come back and say that basically it was tarnishing her name?
I would think so. Oh my God, yeah. If they wind up convicting this guy and everything works out, and it shows that she was nowhere, in no way, shape, or form involved, I would think that's a huge lawsuit.
Right.
Because they
That's what
didn't
I would
just
think.
subtly say that, They fucking went at it, man. Like I said, posting her picture and, just all but saying, that it was her. This is it. Everything lines up. It matches the video. You can tell by the way that she's walking. This is her. And it goes from being some white lesbian lady cop
Yeah.
to some black dude, it's like, I don't even know where they got that information from. But that's the problem with the likes of Glenn Beck's and Alex Jones. And, they're in the business of just hyping everything up to get those clicks and get everybody involved. And they do a good job of it, because we were talking about it on here
Yeah.
when that shit was breaking,
Right.
Now, wasn't sitting there saying the lady definitely did it, but we were just kind of reporting what we were reading from the likes of Glenn Beck. And then it wound up looking like it's being, total bullshit unless
Complete opposite.
unless it comes out that she had something to do with it, because
No.
somebody did. Because another point I was touching on last night was that, of course, the Democrats were screaming, this was somebody affiliated with MAGA that set these bombs out there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as much as they were screaming that, not once did Biden's Department of Justice try to figure out who the fuck it was.
Right.
So if they were so hell bent thinking it was actually somebody with Trump's camp or somebody that, a Trump follower, why sit there and let this case collect dust then for 4 years if they really believe that? So it kind of brings you down that whole Alex Jones shit of, conspiracy stuff, wanting to know, were they more involved than they're ever going to admit?
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much shit tied
Believe me,
into
I
all
know.
this fucking.
Believe
It's
me, I
hard to
know.
believe anything, man.
That's
Like
part of
anything about anything, not even just the pipe bombing, but like everything that goes on in mainstream media. It's so hard to tell what the truth is, what's not, what's bullshit, what's being made up,
Well, yeah, and you said it, because, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna play a clip right here for you. Let me pull up this clip, and I'll show you how the mainstream media is.
Matt says he's got flies in the house.
Matt, oh, watch it, brother. Let's see. All right, I'm assuming you can see it on the screen there.
Yep.
All right, let's listen to this. This is your mainstream media. Now, this picture was added. The black guy, the person that tweeted this out, added this picture on here. So when they were
Okay.
actually reporting on it, this picture wasn't up. So
Right.
if you're not watching, like if you're watching CNN at this time and you don't see the picture of this black man right here, this is all you know if it's all you pay attention to. So check it out.
Capitol attack. Brian Cole Jr., a 30-year-old white man from the D.C. suburbs, is
Now, did you
charged
hear that?
with transporting an
Yeah.
a 30-year-old white man from the D.C. suburbs is charged with transporting an explosive device.
30-year-old white man.
They're not,
A white
he's
man
got a
is
white
what
shirt.
Yeah, and never once did they retract that statement. You know what I mean? So, like I
Right.
said, take the picture of the black man away, and you're one of these hardcore liberals that only watch CNN, you know, and this is the news you're getting. So now it's kind of the same long lines along the Kyle Rittenhouse situation
Exactly. That's what
where,
I was just about to say.
yes, for years, and people to this day think that he shot black people that day
Yes, they do.
because of
Brian
shit like
Cole
this.
Jr., a 30-year-old white man from the D.C. suburbs.
Just clear as day, 30-year-old white man, and didn't say, excuse me, I meant, no, just run with it, go with it, don't retract it at all. And it's like you said, you don't even know what to believe nowadays. It's like every media outlet wants to be the first ones to report on everything. So they, a lot of times they're jumping out there and giving false information that they're not even meaning to,
Right.
but it's just the first information they get. But when it comes to blatant shit like this,
Mm-hmm.
there's no excuse, you know?
Yep. You see it with stuff like this. Like you said, the Kyle Rittenhouse was a little different because they just kind of never specified the races of the people that were shot, like purposely, just never did it. But I mean, even with the plane crashes that have been happening, they jump on it so fast and to be the first one on it, and oh, it was because of this, it was because of that, oh, it was a Boeing 747 crash, and then no, it was a Cessna, and it was a helicopter, sorry, it was full of gay lesbians. Oh, no, it was all black men, like it.
Yeah. Well, and that's a lot of that is like I said, wanting to report first, because the news cycle moves so fast, so it's like and I get it for ratings and to lure your audience in. Everybody, that reporters want to be on, okay, we got to get the story. But the problem is with the mainstream media is when it does come out that they were wrong, they never say it.
Right.
And they would get so much more respect if they would just say, hey, look, we jumped on this early. We were only going with the facts that we were given at the moment. We apologize, but here's the real story. But you never hear that, You never hear it.
Absolutely. No, never.
What comment are you smiling at? I see you grinning.
Maddie said if it were gay lesbians, I might want to fly.
Well, Kyle Rittenhouse case caused me to stop supporting BLM after I read about the grapist that were protesting being shot while trying to stab a cop. Yeah, a lot of people, I've heard a lot of people that actually, once they found out the people that tried to assault Kyle Rittenhouse and why he had to defend himself, a lot of people were like, damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like, wow, I didn't know that. I mean, like I said, to this day, people still don't know the race because they don't bother to watch any other source than the one that they're stuck on. And it's like you said, it's not that they said the people that got shot during that with Rittenhouse were black. It's that they didn't say they were white. They refused
because they
to
knew
say
exactly what you were thinking when you heard 3 people were shot by a white guy at a BLM protest.
Right.
Like they knew where your brain was going to go,
Yeah, and it makes a better, story to paint that this white supremacy is the worst thing going on in the country. People like Kyle Rittenhouse just hunting down, black people at a BLM rally.
Gun nut conservatives are now going to BLM rallies to just start shooting into crowds is what they were portraying it as, and just wanting to kill black people that are, just protesting a good cause in a city, and none of that is anywhere near what happened, so.
No, but it makes a good story, like you said.
It does. It does. It brings attention.
Yeah, gets people to follow along, and it sounds great to their base, and then the base just runs with it, and most people don't either they don't bother to take the time, or they don't have the time to sit around and just start digging about every news story that they hear. Most people are just
Absolutely.
going on with their lives. They're going off to work, they're catching some news in the evening, and they got life going on. So I get it. I mean, I fortunately I have a lot of time during the day to sit around and dig and try to see, okay, let me get into this story a little bit more before I just start believing what they're saying about it, and it'll help, just dig a little. That's all you got to
Yeah.
do. Just dig a little, and you can find at least another side of the argument.
Absolutely. And I mean, I guess kind of with the Kyle Rittenhouse stuff, a lot of stuff that was never reported by the news, which I don't know if they had the information or didn't, or, but there were a lot of things that came out if you watched the trial,
Right.
that you wouldn't know otherwise.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, and most people didn't. You
No.
know what I mean? I mean, I watched it. I was fortunate to, what I do for a living. I had the TV on. I'm sitting there staring at it the entire trial. I mean, I was able to do that where a lot of people, I mean, that shit's going on in the middle of the day. So a lot of people don't have that luxury. And then the news that they're getting about the trial is biased depending on, I mean, whatever source you're watching. So CNN's not giving you everything that's going on in that trial if it doesn't favor or cater to their audience, and nor is
Exactly.
Fox. So
100%.
now you're stuck with whatever you get home and watch in the evening to catch up on the trial because you weren't able to watch it on your own. And that goes on with a lot of these big, these stories that make
everything.
these nations.
I hate
everything.
the fucking recap stories because they can take any, out of, even when Trump makes a statement, or I mean, even when Kamala or Biden were making statements, right? Either side can take a pinch of the whole fucking hour-long speech and twist it to make it fit what they want it to say, right? And they do it all the time. And that's why anytime I read anything about Trump, negative, positive, whatever, about what he said, or, even when Biden was in office, anything Biden had said that was negative or positive or what, I want to hear everything he said, because I want to know what the context was, what exactly his words were, because I don't believe these motherfuckers anymore.
Well, and the problem with that, they couldn't control the narrative if they did that, I mean, and that's all the media has become is just, they're activists now. I mean, they're not reporters, they're not just reporting news. There's always some hook to it, some agenda they're trying to push. So the last thing they need is you thinking for yourself and giving you, every aspect of the story. So I think those days are long gone, which is why, podcasts and streams and shit have taken off so much now, where people can actually tune in. And I'm not saying every single one. I mean, those are going to be biased too. I mean, but at least there's a few of them out there that you can really get the full story from.
Yeah,
if you bother looking for it.
And if it's anything, you see a lot of the lives and whatnot, stuff like we do, and it's pretty instant feedback, especially with what we do. If we're saying some completely wrong shit, like, we're going to get corrected really quickly. The news, they don't hear what the fuck we're saying. They don't hear anybody giving any feedback to them. So they just say what they want to say, and the people that bitch about it, and they don't care. And then some, the other half runs with it.
No, they don't. It's kind of like the the CNN Jake Tapper thing that we played earlier with him calling him a white man, this bomber, knowing damn well that's not the truth. Now, it may have been a slip, I don't know. I don't know why he said that. But it's like, correct yourself, you know? And I want to see how long it takes them to come out and fix that error, if they haven't already. I haven't seen it at all, and he damn sure didn't do it right then and there like he should have. When you say a wrong word, I mean, the man talks for a living. He knew when he said that it wasn't right. He should have fixed it right then and there, and maybe it would start giving these fucking pricks some more credibility, but they've lost all of it. So,
absolutely. Matt, yes, if you hear us say some dumb, completely incorrect shit, for sure let us know,
nah,
and what's
let me know.
Patriot talking about Democrats blowing up small boats of pirates for decades. Now think blowing up small boats of drug runners is a war crime.
Yeah,
Have
because it's
Democrats been
not
blowing up pirates?
well, everybody's. I mean, it's not like this. Only the Republicans or Donald Trump's administration has been fighting that, you know. But it's like anything they do now is we got to impeach them, or whatever. It's a war crime. But I was about to pull that up actually. Let's see that newest one that they just fucking annihilated. It's pretty awesome to watch. What's up, Kristen?
Hey, what are we talking about?
Right now we're about to show a boat being annihilated by the U.S.
Nice.
military. So this is the latest one. I mean, watch this fucking thing. Imagine being on this boat, and they're like, "Oh, how's your day?" Gone. Just ball of fire. Now, we talked about this the other night, and we were all under pretty much the same, attitude of fuck them. If it's them drug runners, do what you got to do, take them out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I saw it presented on CNN, believe it or not, because I do check out, both sides. I'm not just a Fox News fucking cult member. So I was watching them, and there was an argument being made on there that a lot of these people that are driving these boats, now how true this statement is, I don't know, but it was said on there that they're not necessarily the cartel. They're people that are in desperate situations that the cartel will pay to move these drugs. So does that give you any more sympathy for these people that are getting blown out of the fucking water like they're doing?
Do you
No.
have sympathy for the 18-wheeler drivers that are running truckloads of shit cross country because the cartel paid them?
No.
When they get caught,
I really
man,
don't.
get
But
sentenced to life in prison.
Right. Not really. I kind of got their point that, it's these people that can barely afford to feed their families if they can at all in these countries like that the cartel runs. And if it's not the cartel holding them down, it's their own government. So they have a loaf of bread for a month if they're lucky, to split. So now you get the cartel says, look, we'll give you 1,000, 5,000, whatever it is, but you're going to have to drive this boat across the water and deliver these drugs. Well, that's a hell of a position to be put in. And then now the U.S. is coming and just fucking annihilating these people. So
you can go down that rabbit hole with anything, right? Any of those
Sure.
cartel members, they didn't join the cartel because they were living great, right?
Right.
They just didn't, right? So you got that. Anybody that's running dope across America didn't get into it because they were wealthy and, were just living in mansions and splurging and had nice cars and clothes, and it's not why you get into it.
No, I see.
So
I get it.
Everybody that does do that, they're 99.9% of the time coming from pretty not great backgrounds. You have some of your fakers that just want to be the cool guy, but
No, I get it. It made me actually think about it because I was like, to be in that position, like I said, where you can barely feed your family. So you take this drug running job from the cartel just to try to put food on the table, and then a drone strike destroys you. It's like,
Yeah, but
so,
the risks.
well, you do, but I just meaning from a sympathetic standpoint. Like, do they deserve any more sympathy than what they're getting from a lot of people? We're saying, fuck them, blow them all up. If it's true that these are just people that the cartel is recruiting to do this by enticing them with saying, hey, we can give you a few dollars, you'll be able to feed your family, for a couple months with you just make one run for us, so does that change the rules of the game at all, or do you just say, hey man, it's part of the game, get over it?
Yeah, I mean, I have sympathy for the situation that they're in, but you knew what it was.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think we just judge it from our lives, like, oh yeah, we're not doing that bad over here, but when you compare it to the stories you hear from those places over there where, like I said, you literally can't feed your fucking family unless the government or the cartel allow it. So you're working with pennies a month, and your kid's starving, your wife's starving, you're starving, and all of a sudden you're presented with this proposition, where fuck man, this kind of money, I may get 2 or 3 months of food out of this for my family. So then you got this. couple guys that say, yeah, I'll do it. Fuck it. I got to do something. And then, like I said, a missile strike takes them out.
So how many gang members out of the project that died this year from gang violence do you have sympathy for because they grew up in a household with breadcrumbs and couldn't feed their family?
I'm not selling you on this at all, am I?
I'm just saying.
No, look, I was just playing white devil's advocate here, man. I was, just giving the other side of what I saw on CNN, that it was at least a point that, makes you go, and think about it for a second. That if they're not just these callous cartel members that are getting destroyed on these boats, and it's actually people that are just trying to feed their family, then does it make people think about it a little bit different, And then with you're like, fuck them, kill them all.
Like I said, we run around all day not having sympathy for any of these. I mean, most of the violent acts that happen in gangs and everything, it all starts the same way.
True.
It's just somebody that can't afford to live with, whatever jobs are available to them. So they get into the street life, and then, one day they get popped, and then everybody's like, well, should have chose something better to do, and it's like, fuck them.
Well, it's a very good point you make, because we hear a lot of stories like that where, kids that grow up in the hood or the ghetto, whatever you want to call it, they wind up, like you said, joining these gangs. They don't have nothing else going on for them in life. They're barely surviving. Their parents can barely feed them, or their mom, if the dad's around, whatever. But so you're right. They come from these fucked up backgrounds, and the only choice they have in a lot of those situations is to do bad things, to try to survive. So then when one of those gets shot, we're like, well, that's the gang life. Exactly. Get over it, but then you're seeing it, like the guy that was on CNN making that point, like we're supposed to feel sorry for these drug runners because they're down on their luck and they're just trying to earn some money. But like you said, you made a damn good point. You don't hear none of that, coming from that side, as far as, well, we just need to feel sorry for all the gang members that die every year, because they're basically in the same situation that these people are in. So that's a good point. I get it. I just, figured it'd spark a little thought with that to see if anybody felt a little different, when you present it like that. Because, like I said, it made me think for a second. But anyway. What else we know about him? Well, like I said, supposedly he was pissed off that the 2020 election was stolen, as far as his pipe bomber goes. That's about it on that.
I want to ask, because I've been seeing it a lot on social media. So Russia, Ukraine, right? They have, I want to say started, but they've been using them. But the drone bombs, right? A lot of people, I'm hearing that it should be basically considered a war crime.
Okay.
They need to make it a war crime with the Geneva Convention, But I don't understand how a drone bomb is any different than sending in military, or just heavy arsenals of bombs out of the sky, launching missiles, and
So you're saying, like, with the ones that complain about the drone strikes?
Yeah.
Like, why is that any different than?
Why is a drone strike any different than a missile barrage?
I don't know. I mean, do they say it is? I
don't know. Definitely.
The only argument I ever hear about the drone strikes, or any strike, is the innocence of, civilians that get taken out. I mean, Obama was famous for that.
You could argue with the drone strikes that, aside from the person operating them, if they're just a complete piece of shit, but with the drone strikes, they're more accurate because somebody's flying it into something, right? And they're seeing the whole time they're flying up until they hit their target.
Sure. Yeah, but it's the lack of give a shit that I hear them complain with these drone strikes and all. Government, they don't care who they take out. They're just in there annihilating, areas. But like you said, that could be a barrage of missiles coming from anything.
Exactly.
So I guess you're hearing about it because it's just the newest, form of warfare as far as delivering missiles. So I guess it's the hot topic right now because really there
It
is no
is.
difference. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I'm just like. I don't see any difference. If anything, to me, the drones are better because one, they're smaller bombs, right?
right.
You're not taking out whole buildings with an FPV drone.
Sure.
And it's just there's no difference between launching a missile into an army barracks or flying an FPV drone into a Humvee and blowing it up. Like I don't see the difference.
No, there isn't. And like I said, I think the only difference is it's just a new form of devastation that, people have to complain about now. I think that's all it is. It's just the newest way of infiltrating certain areas and causing chaos. So that's probably about all there is to that, really. But I don't know. It's a good point because I don't. I'm with you. I've been hearing a lot about that too. The drone strikes, and it's like, well, what about the other strikes? It's like if you're gonna bitch about one, but I think it's just because it's the hot topic.
Like we'll just make explosives against the Geneva Convention, completely.
No, I get it. But what else we got going on, man? Still ain't thought of no good name besides football. So if anybody comes up with one, let us know. Trump says we got to change it. That the soccer is technically football, so we need to change what we call it over here in America. I can't think of anything, but rigged is all I have. So nobody else came up with anything. But I did see on a more serious note that the CDC decided finally that one of these vaccines they have been pushing for years on these children, which is the hepatitis B vaccine, that they're not going to recommend it for infants no more. And why it got started in the first place is beyond me. I guess besides the fact that it's another huge money grab. I mean, it's many of these vaccines that they pump into these children. I mean, it's just dollar after dollar after dollar for these pharmaceutical companies. If they can keep convincing people like the CDC and all to start making it mandatory basically to be in public schooling. It's just a huge money grab. And it's a sick game they play because a lot of the stuff they know it's not good for these kids. I mean, this hepatitis B thing, it was full of aluminum. Mm-hmm. They were talking about it was up to 75% more of the aluminum that is, basically acceptable for a 7-pound baby.
Right.
And it's like, how does that even get passed? Like, how do, besides money? I mean, I know how. It's a rhetorical question. I mean, it's all fucking just a big scam, Not saying that some vaccines don't help. I'm not saying all of that is wrong and it's all a scam, but the system itself, it's a big way to put a lot of money in a lot of people's pockets. And a lot of times shit like that will just get passed, because it's like, well, it's going to make us a ton of money and we don't have to deal with the repercussions. But like I said, it was 75 times the safe limit for a 7-pound infant. And that shit was approved. That's crazy. When, they were saying like, I think it was like 1 in 7 million children actually, die from the hepatitis B, which, one is if it's your child, it's a big deal. But in the grand scheme of things, you've got a better chance of getting hit by lightning.
Was that prior to the vaccines or now or?
When you add it all up, because it was a little bit more prior, but it wasn't much more. So then when you take it all in consideration, it breaks it down to about 1 in 7 million infants altogether. But even the numbers before, it wasn't warranted to force every child to get this.
So the vaccine argument is more of like, we're not saying that they don't work, right? But we're saying that the health repercussions are not worth basically what they're saving. Like they don't save enough lives for
with a lot
the health
of the
repercussions that come from them to be worth it.
Yeah, that's a big argument. It's kind of where RFK Jr., where a lot of his arguments were. It was never that he was anti-vaccine. It was, for one, anti so many in such a short period of time in a child's life. It's like, slow the fuck down. Slow down a little bit. Let's not just keep pumping all this shit into these children just fast. There's a lot of shit in vaccines that they don't need to just be taken where you just compiling that shit on, and that's been the big argument. And then when one like this, it's basically just what you said, that the risk of the trouble that it can cause isn't worth it, when it's really not affecting that many kids. It's just not. And that's exactly the conclusion the CDC just came to. So it's not just, anti-vaxxers saying that. The CDC actually, their panel came to that conclusion, saying that it's not worth it because of the other issues that this vaccine is causing. And I'm thinking, well, that's one of them out the way, but how long is it going to take for them to really address the problem with all of them? And I'm not saying get rid of all of them, but to take a realistic look and weigh the options. I don't know when we're ever going to get there, because it's a shame, but anybody who's had a child over the last couple decades has basically been forced to pump a lot of this shit into their kid.
Yeah.
I mean, you really don't have no way out of it if you want them to go to public school, which most children are in. So your only other option is to homeschool them or put them in private school, which most of the country can't afford. And as far as the homeschooling, most parents are working nowadays. So they act like they don't force you to do it, but it's kind of like with the COVID vaccine. Well, we're not forcing you to do it, but we'll ruin your fucking career if you don't, So anyway, it was just good to see them kind of, at least pull back on one of these things that they're putting into these fucking children that have no say. The kids don't, the autism rate is off the fucking charts. And if you really look into that, you start to see how that correlates with the vaccine schedules in this country. Once we ramp that shit up, the autism just spiked. Now, a lot of people argue that, saying it's more diagnosed nowadays, but I refuse to believe that. I just don't remember coming up with kids back when I was young that act like a lot of these kids do that are quote unquote on the spectrum. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you could just tell. You could tell nowadays. I don't remember that being a big problem back when I was in school. It's the same thing with these fucking allergies. Everybody's allergic to peanuts now. Well, you start looking into that, and the vaccines could cause that.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of these newer diseases and, the spike in, like you said, the allergies and whatnot, I feel like a lot of it is ramping up due to, I guess, natural selection being taken out of the mix.
Right.
Okay. So we
Right.
have a lot more medical intervention now, whereas, kids that 100 years ago, kids that are surviving today just fine wouldn't have survived back then because they didn't have the medical, everything that they can do for you now to keep you alive and just make you a healthy person living life. Whereas if you had a peanut allergy, like I said, 100, 200 years ago, the first time you ate peanuts, you're gone. You're taken out of the gene pool. Now,
Right.
I'm not advocating against medical intervention. I'm just saying that, I think that's where a lot of our spikes are coming from, is we're keeping people alive. And I've heard a doctor actually say it, that basically it's getting harder in the medical field to do the ethical thing, because you can keep a body alive for a fairly long amount of time. Hooked to machines, they can just have you sitting there technically alive, but are you though? So
Yeah, I know what you mean.
it's that's where I think a lot of it's coming from, personally.
Yeah, and you may be right. I don't know. I mean, unlike what Mike is saying on here, I don't think I'm a scientist. Now, if you've got a better argument than just name calling, I'd love to hear it. I don't know if you work for the fucking pharmaceutical companies or something. I mean, everything I was saying, it's been discussed multiple times, by multiple people that know more than me. And
it's not your
person
research
commenting on this. No, it's not my research. I'm just going by what I've heard, because I try to listen to all sides, and it's no you can't deny, if you look at a chart, the spike in autism is right there with when they started injecting us with fucking 37 fucking shots by the time we were 18 or whatever the number is, whatever. Don't quote me on the number, because then everybody will think I'm a scientist, but it's a god awful amount. And you can look, and them charts, they go up with each other. So it's kind of like RFK said, he's not saying 100%, but it's something worth looking into, and at least looking at it as maybe that's an option of what's going on here, instead of just calling people morons and whatever else just these people on here are saying. At least say, hey, it's something worth looking into. But we'll go with the name calling, because that solves more. That solves more problems in the country, to just start throwing out fucking names instead of giving a real opinion with some facts. Fucking idiots.
I like that.
Anyway, excuse me for that. Nobody's a fucking idiot. I'm sorry. I'm apologize.
I think taking natural selection out is, I think we're just going to keep ramping up on diseases and the amount of population that has diseases, as far as, Down syndrome, autism, and whatnot, because of medical advances.
Down syndrome. Boy, that brings a question in my mind. I'm almost afraid to ask it, because I don't know. Kristen's kind of brutally honest, and which I don't know. Kristen, God. You've got them in your family. Some people are making a decision that when they find out they're, early on, if you're even into abortions and you find out your child is going to have Down syndrome, and they're like, okay, well, I don't want to have this child. Is that right or wrong in your mind? Kristen, let me ask you as a woman. I mean, what would be your take on that?
What do you think my take would be?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking. That's what we're here for. Well, for one, are you even, pro-choice? Are you totally against abortion? How do you even fall in that category?
No, pro-choice.
Okay. So it's up to the woman?
Yeah.
Now, is it up to the woman if she knows her child's going to have Down syndrome? If they can tell early enough where, you're not aborting a fucking full-term child, of course, but.
So if I was able to, I probably would. Just because I know, like you said, we know people who are in that situation. I don't think I could handle that. There's no way.
Yeah. But as far as
I can't even handle a regular child.
So you're the wrong one to ask. She's like, I don't like fucking, I was going to say normal. I don't want to use that word.
Yeah, that's what I was,
but yeah, but I hear you. The gay gene. What about that?
Well, because that's like a lifelong commitment.
No, it is. Yeah, because they never, I don't say never. I'm trying not to.
Most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah. They're always going to have to be, taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tough because, the older the parent grows, the harder it gets, but you're always raising somebody with the mentality of an 8-year-old, basically, And I can almost see a woman's argument if, of course, we're not, like I said, trying to get rid of a full-term child, because I'm kind of pro-choice too. I'm not hardcore, like no abortion.
I think it depends on the situation.
Yeah, I do too. I think it does. I think it does. I mean, that's a hot topic for a lot of people because a lot of it's religious, where everything you're murdering somebody is how a lot of people look at it.
I'm not religious, so.
No, I get you. And Mike, I look at that. I get it, Mike. I get that argument. I appreciate you making it like that. I have heard that, and it's definitely that makes sense too. That's what I kind of even said that a lot of people say it's just we're diagnosing it better nowadays. But I was talking about from a personal experience. I don't remember children having those kind of issues when I was coming up, when I was just growing up, being around kids and being in school and all, and I mean, that doesn't mean nobody did. I just don't remember it being like that. And anybody I talk to that's my age or older says the same thing. So that's all I was getting at. A lot of what people say that don't like the way that they force these vaccines into these small kids, they they say the same thing, that a lot of these problems that these children are having kind of correlates with that. Now, I mean, you take that for what you want and do what you want with it, but you know, it seems to make a little bit of sense. Now, what's this person talking about here? If abortions were illegal, white women would have to admit to their father. Oh man, that ain't even a thing nowadays. That's almost celebrated, you know. It's almost celebrated. Nobody cares about that anymore. But it is funny. I get it. Back when I was young, that would have been a good joke. But we're not joking about that. It's not funny. Love who you want to love.
Have y'all seen? Do y'all know who Sabrina Carpenter is?
Unfortunately.
Have y'all seen her beef with the White House?
Yeah, weren't they using her song or some shit for?
Yeah.
I forget what they were using it for, but I did.
Well,
see
look
her.
at the White House's most recent TikTok. After she commented something about it, the White House said something else, and then I think today they just made another video about her, like using her in the video, and it's hilarious.
Oh Lord, well, I can't pull up TikTok on here. I wish I could, but
Oh.
I'll have to check that out. I know they were. I want to say it was the Homeland Security or one of them. They did that shit to Theo Vaughn too, and he was like, "Whoa, like leave me the fuck out of this. Like, you know, don't use my shit to promote your." You know, I think it was about.
Shut up! What are you gonna do about it?
I think it was about removing the illegals out of the country. You know, and they used some soundbite of his where he was joking around.
Yeah, they used Sabrina Carpenter's song, and she was like, "Don't ever, no." Well, why? What are you gonna do about it?
In Theo Vaughn's defense, if you watch him at all, he's kind of an emotional person, and he's got anxiety, a lot of anxiety and depression, and he said what that did to him. For one, it scared the fuck out of him because people started coming at him like he was like trying to deport people. So you know how ugly it gets with politics. You know, people start threatening you, and if you're not built for that shit, it's not fun. You know, I mean, not everybody's built to have people coming at them online threatening their fucking lives and shit. We get it here. You know what I mean? But not everybody is built for that shit. So I kind of sympathize with him. He was like, whoa, like take that shit down. Like I do not condone that shit. And they did, but he had to get his fucking lawyers on it, you know, and I guess maybe that's her kind of thing, or any of these celebrities. It's like, I don't want to be part of that shit. Stop. Like, don't put me in your fucking political, you know, just this, whatever this argument you have going on with politics and all. I don't want to be a part of it. So I kind of get that. You know, I get that when it comes to, like I said, these celebrities that don't want their likeness used, you know, to serve some political agenda. And it's funner to make fun of them, but I do kind of get it. Now, I wish I could pull up TikTok on here. I want to see what they said back to her.
Go on X and type in Sabrina and
The
White
teenage
House.
witch, Sabrina.
Yeah.
What's her last name? You said
Carpenter.
Oh yeah, there she is. There. Calls out White House. I saw that part.
It's a new video.
It
was like the first thing that popped up for me.
He said the White House deleted the video that upset Sabrina and turned around and posted a new one with her. Whoever is running the White House account is downright savage, someone says. So they did it again.
Yeah.
Maybe she was like, this video is evil and disgusting. Do not ever involve me or my music to benefit your inhumane agenda. So, like I said, I get it.
Where is it?
I kind of get it, because let's say somebody was using a soundbite of yours to promote some shit that you were totally against, you know?
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah.
It's just funny that the White House is doing that.
Oh,
like,
I know.
I want to know who's behind it.
This whole administration, dude, it's just nuts to watch. I don't know if we'll ever see another one like it. So as much as people want to hate it, you better enjoy what's going on, because it is such a shit show. I don't know if we'll ever see another one like it. It's just, there's no fucking filter in a lot of it. You know what I mean? And it's just, I've never seen it before, and I don't know if we'll see it again. I mean, it's just so raw with what's allowed with this administration. It's crazy. And I mean, nobody seems to mind it. They act like they do. You know, people start, you know, clutching their pearls and, oh my God, did you hear what Trump? And it's like, Trump didn't say nothing that your ass wasn't saying in private a few minutes ago. So, you know, fuck off.
Yeah.
But anyway.
What,
Anywho,
what's
anything
up
else
with
big?
What's up with the dentist chair, dude?
The dentist chair.
On Epstein Island. Did you see his fucking?
Oh,
I didn't
I
get to
saw
see the
that.
video. I didn't watch the video. What
That's a
Yeah,
picture.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
there's
I
a
thought because I
picture
know
of,
they released some video of some inside,
Yeah, they
I don't
walked
know.
around the island and walked in a couple of the bedrooms, and one of the rooms there's like a dentist chair with a light set up, and there's like face masks all over the walls and shit. Like it's like human faces on the wall, and uh, it's odd. It's very
They
odd.
had, dude. They had, the crazy shit they had going on over there. They FBI won't convince me that they didn't find a treasure trove of shit when they raided that place.
Yeah.
And when you talk to them now, oh, there was really nothing. There was really nothing there. And it's like I refuse to believe it. I'm about to pull it up right now.
Like, what island? What?
Let's enjoy the Epstein. Let's see.
Dude, I watched the whole video and had to rewind because I finally
Oh,
caught
I didn't
the
see
comment
that.
What?
The
when
video.
they're showing the pool.
Let's see. Oh, this is the video here?
Yeah, somebody said, "Is that Obama by the pool?"
It's for sale, isn't it?
I don't know.
I thought it was for sale. 'Cause I know Rogan was clowning around like they had brought it up to him about buying it and like where he could do his podcast from it, and he was like said he thought about it for a second. And he was like, that's probably the last thing you want your name tied to now.
Yeah. Damn.
Well, where's
Yeah, I
it
didn't
going?
see
This is
that
that's a
video,
beautiful
but
place, dude.
damn.
I mean, it's a gorgeous place, so that's the
There's
only
Obama.
defense. Is that what they're
According
talking
to the
about right there?
comments. Yeah. According to the Facebook comments.
What is that, a statue? Is that Obama? That's stupid. Oh, man, what is this? This is the little... I'm just looking at some... Oh, there's the faces
sure.
on the...
Yeah.
What in the fuck?
Like, what the
What were they
fuck is
doing?
happening
Like-
in there?
Oh no.
Wow. That's some crazy shit, dude. I mean, just... I don't know what the fuck was going on in that fucking place. I don't know. Speaking of freaks, Kristen, you watched the P. Diddy documentary?
Yes. Last night.
Yeah. I had no idea that man, if true what these people are saying, because I think I have another episode to watch, but where I'm at so far, the shit these people are saying that this man was doing to them, this bastard was sick.
I
Is
believe
that
it.
the one 50 cents behind?
Yes.
Yes.
And it's fucking crazy when you get into the victims, supposed victims. But I don't, how you can kind of listen to some people and you could just tell they're full of shit. Your radar goes off, like people say about us on here. You can kind of sense it. But I don't sense that with these people, man.
Especially the men.
Yes, because why would a
Because
man
I feel like
sit
that's
there?
a hard thing to lie about for a man.
Yeah, spoiler alert if you don't want to hear, but the one that was saying he would pass out, wake up, and he was sore. And sometimes Diddy would be in the bed next to him and shit like that.
Yeah.
Now he's suing him. He was one of the people that for sexual assault, he was I think the 6th person in line out of the hundreds that are suing Diddy.
Yeah.
But I'm with you, like, I know money drives a lot of people, but it didn't seem like that was the case. Like, he seemed genuine, And
Did you get to oh, well, I forgot what I was just about to say.
I got to, well, I got to, I want to say it was when I was just watching a video of him beating that ex of his in the hotel. That shit's rough. I've seen it before, but not up close like that because I'm standing for it. Was just weird to see this time because I'm standing in my living room in front of my fucking TV and I'm watching this and he's dragging this woman and kicking her. And I think a lot of it combined with listening to her, people talk about her before you saw that, and the type of girl that she was and just young and brainwashed and just a, a sweet girl. And then you watch this man beating the shit out of her. And I'm like, this dude's a fucking animal.
Yeah.
He's a fucking animal. And for him to only get 50 months, it's crazy. And I know because a lot of it wasn't charges for that. It was whatever they could prove he did, and the jury decided this is all, we can get him on. But man, if he's as evil as these people are saying he was, this motherfucker needs to be locked away for life.
Oh, the guy that they hired. Did you get to that part?
They hired for what?
The like escort prostitute dude.
Oh yeah. Justin's like, what in the fuck are y'all talking about? Yeah.
Are you gonna watch it, Justin?
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it tonight. I planned on it.
Okay.
All right. Well, we ain't gonna get into much more of it because it's fresh.
We'll
a
wait
lot
till
of people
after,
haven't.
yeah.
But it's crazy. It kind of took a minute to get to all that kind of stuff. I noticed. A lot of it was about the rap career and
I actually did enjoy that part of it too.
Yeah.
Because I don't think those are really big people back then.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, that's true. There's a lot of stuff. I guess. You didn't know because you weren't really, you weren't around really, when all that shit was getting started. But I knew I was waiting on somebody to say that. I know everybody ties it in with January 6th though. Because if I'd have put January 5th, somebody would have said, "What in the fuck? What do you mean?" That's why it's known even in the media, the J6 pipe bomber. But I get it. I appreciate the correction. But believe me, I knew it going into it. But it is what it is. Anyway, what else is popping off? Anything important? Don't sound like it. I got zero response. Zero. Now, I did see that girl that got killed on that cruise. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm sure you know which one I'm talking about. They got shoved under the damn bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I seen that they the parents basically made the stepson move the fuck out their house. Because from what I'm seeing, I mean, they're pretty convinced that he did this, which I'm sure the whole nation is if you paid attention to it. But
yeah, the coroner said she was strangled.
Yeah, and they were sharing that room together, so there's not much else that could have happened. But
did you hear about when they were on, like, she was on FaceTime with her boyfriend and like the stepbrother walked in? It wasn't on the cruise, but it was like a prior incident. She was on FaceTime laying in the bed talking to her boyfriend, and stepbrother like came in and like climbed on top of her and shit, and he like took off running when the boyfriend said something and he realized that the boyfriend was on FaceTime. He got up and took off running out the room.
Yeah,
No.
From what I've heard, he was like really obsessed with her, like in a weird way. I guess he was attracted to her, his step sibling or something, but they said he was very odd with that. So, all things, like I said, are pointing towards him doing that. But they said he went to live, another family member took him in. And I'm like, man, that's some love there. Because even his own parents were like, look, we can't have him around. For one, there's another child in the house. So that lets me know right there, there's not a doubt in your mind that this boy did this to your daughter. Your son did this to your daughter. So you're like, we can't have him here. But then somebody steps up and says, we'll let him stay with us. And I don't know if I could, I don't know if I'd be that.
Maybe she rejected him and he just
That's
snapped.
probably, honestly, that could be. He may have had these weird fantasies in his head and decided to act on them that night. And he didn't want to get in trouble, So it's weird how that goes on in people's mind that they don't want to get in trouble for making a pass at their stepsister. But
So let me kill him.
Yeah, they think the best option now is to offer. Now, did he have any issues? I mean, was he autistic? Was there anything going on that y'all know of?
I haven't heard anything about his mental status.
Yeah, I was just wondering if he just wasn't all there, or if something, if he was on any, some kind of meds or something, like whatever excuse that the, defense is going to try to use. I didn't know if they were talking about any of that. But which apparently they haven't even arrested the kid yet, but it looks like the FBI, everybody's putting up a pretty good case against this boy, and they're going to wind up pressing charges on him for sure.
Yeah.
How old is he?
I think 16.
Oh, how old was she?
18.
Oh.
Yeah, so he had to go somewhere, which, like I
Yeah.
said, kudos to the family member that took him in, because I know he ain't coming to my fucking house. Sorry. I mean, that little bastard can go stay at a group home if I'm totally convinced that he, strangled his
Yeah.
sibling. But maybe, I don't know, maybe the family that took him in don't believe it, you know. There ain't no telling. I didn't really
I
get
just
into
like,
all
what
that.
was his plan?
Bro,
Like
I
they
know
weren't
it's
gonna
like,
find this body under the bed in your cabin that you were
yeah, I
staying in?
mean, not to, give anybody ideas, but he'd have been better throwing her ass overboard.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Honestly, if you're looking at it from a criminal mentality, to sit there, like you said, that nobody was ever going to discover in a bedroom that y'all were sharing.
Right.
But now, I mean, he's 16 years old. I would like to think I would think better than that at 16. That's kind of where I was wondering, was he, diagnosed with anything? Do we know his medical history yet as far as his mental, state? But I don't know if that's been spoke on, but it just seems like an odd, jump, to go from whatever the hell happened, which I'm with Kristen. He probably, got a little too friendly and decided to try something in that room, and she rejected him.
Or he's just always been a weirdo and was probably killing the animals down the road, and the family just decided to ignore it until something like this happened.
And that's happened before, I guess. They always, it seemed to progress. They start, with animals and
nobody
eventually-
knows that their kid is a serial killer.
Isn't that something? I never got.
It's
and
crazy.
Yeah, we've said it before, but it's just so weird that you would think. How do you say there's no signs when people are that thrown off?
I just think, like, being in school, if there was a weirdo, me not even being related to you, not being around you, other than like passing you in the hallway, I still can tell that you're a weirdo. So how do you not know somebody in your house? Like, I just don't get how you can live with somebody and not know that there's something wrong with them.
Yeah, especially to that extent. I mean, I get it that, your child may do something stupid, and then it's like, well, he never really acted out before. That was the one incident that he did. We can't believe it. But to get to the point of say, like a Jeffrey Dahmer, you mean to tell me nothing, no signs at all?
There's no way.
I don't know. I mean, maybe parents are just that busy sometimes that they don't think nothing of it, or maybe they do say these people are pretty good at, just the psychopaths.
The psychopaths
Yeah.
are, yeah. They're good at hiding it.
Yeah, they're good at hiding it. They know how to blend in. It's their art,
Which
You
is
gotta
how they
blend
find
in to
victims, because they're good at being normal.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say that's how they find their victims. You can't be some fucking weirdo, walking down the street because everybody's going to avoid you. You got to be like Ted Bundy. He was a ladies' man, very charismatic. He used that to his advantage, and he would lure these young girls close enough to him where, boom, it was over with. And that seems to be the MO of a lot of the serial killers. Outside of like Richard Ramirez, where he would just sneak into your fucking house at night, which is the scariest shit to me.
But he only snuck into those people's houses if their windows were unlocked.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, lock your shit up. That's what I mean. To me, that's the scariest thing, is to just wake up in the middle of the night and there's some fucking person like him standing over you, or already on top of you with a gun in your fucking head.
Standing for long.
Oh Lord, man, that's the only thing that gets me. I'm thinking, man, that would
They'd have caught Richard Ramirez right in the doorway. Like, so that's who the fuck did it all. Oh, yeah. That's him.
I started watching Signs of a Psychopath, and it's like there's like 10 seasons. I've just been obsessed with it, but terrifying. Like the way that their brain works.
It's crazy, huh?
And how they know what they're doing, and they know that they're manipulating you and tricking you into believing that they're normal.
Yeah.
The whole time they're just like fantasizing about slitting your throat, and it's insane.
It is.
It's crazy.
I know.
And then I just think, how many psychopaths have you
come across? Yeah.
Yes.
That's true, because like you said, they blend in so well, so you never know.
Like you could be a psychopath.
I could, and we might find out one day. I don't know. I mean, no, usually by I ain't gonna say usually because I'm speaking like I know, but I would think. I mean, like, what's the oldest a serial killer gets started normally? I mean, from every story you've ever heard. It's not like somebody hits the age of 60 normally and then decides to start killing.
No,
I wouldn't think they would.
Like 30s.
That. Yeah, I would think so. Late 20s to 30ish is about as long as they can hold it off.
I think they just can't resist the urge.
Oh, no, they can. Right. It's the same thing we say with these people that abuse children. I don't think they can help it, but there's no excuse. They still shouldn't be walking this earth. But
Yeah.
and I think that's how serial killers are. You can even tell by the interviews, like with Jeffrey Dahmer, that he knew what he was doing was wrong, and he almost wanted to stop, but it's just that urge. A lot of it's sexual fantasies and shit that they just can't control. And that seems to be the story of a lot of them. Unless they're just sadistic. Like I said, I bring up Ramirez again because he was just a sick fuck. He just wanted to torture.
Whose buddy that had the torture chamber in his house? Not in his house. He had that shipping container next to his house.
Oh yeah, that was
that old fucking weird dude, and he had the TV that he'd play the.
Yeah, he'd keep them women like chained up in there.
Yeah.
I forget his name. Somebody might know it in the comments, but
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
You ain't heard of him? He
I don't recall.
Yeah, he would kidnap women, and him and his wife would kidnap women, and he had a shipping container, and it was basically a torture chamber. Like, he had all kind of like crazy shit in there electrical shit and just anything you could think of to torture somebody, and he'd keep these women captive for months at a time. And he had the whole video that he would play. So basically the women would wake up in the torture chamber, and he had a video that he would play every single one of them, basically explaining what he was going to do and how they should act and how they should speak to him and da-da-da. And the whole video has been released, and it's very
Wait, I need
unsettling.
to see this.
I'm about to pull it up. I'm about to pull up a video showing when they cut into the thing and rescued the girl.
What's his name?
Todd. I'm gonna pull it up right now. I'll pull it. I'm gonna share it. Yeah, it would be, just imagine yourself in this fucking position. It's nuts. Let's see.
He had like a gynecologist chair or some shit.
This is them rescuing.
Go. Do you have any weapons?
There's a lady. She was chained in it when they found her.
What's your name?
Lauren. Gotcha. All right.
Just a girl. Just a girl. How are you, honey? This is
bolt cutters.
This is our best. He's a paramedic.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get you out of there. Okay. Just hang loose for me. Anybody I need a handcuff key.
Do you know where your buddy is?
Charlie?
Yes.
He shot him.
He shot him.
Who did?
Todd Colehep shot Charlie Carver 3 times in the chest, wrapped him in a blue tarp, put him in the bucket of the tractor, locked me down here, and I never seen him again.
Okay.
He says he's dead and buried. He says there's several bodies dead and buried out here, and he says that the dogs will be ruined if they go looking because there's red pepper.
We're gonna step you out, sweet. Because there's what?
Red pepper.
Okay.
Tell the dog people that.
Todd Colehep. So look him up. Watch that shit. You'll like it. It's
Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah, it's an interesting one, man.
I think that's a different guy, honestly.
Oh, really?
Oh.
So you're thinking of
Yeah.
another nut. Wow.
David Parker Ray.
Oh yeah, he was one.
Him.
Didn't he have help with some little Chinese guy that was his little co-host and all of that?
Maybe. I know his wife was involved in it.
Yeah, his wife, and I
For
want to
sure.
say he had a little Oriental guy that was helping him too, because they were videotaping this shit, weren't they?
Yeah. There was
Yeah,
videos of all
they were
of it, and
videotaping him torture these women, and he had a little assistant there with him doing that shit too. But they got some strange motherfuckers out there, huh?
Well, that's like
Man.
that Joseph something where he had a house and he had women held captive in it for like 20 years.
Jeez.
And the neighbors had no idea that these women were just like chained up in this man's house. Like they had kids with him and everything.
Was that
Joseph
Mexican
something.
or that was that he was, I don't know if he was Mexican or
Something like that. He had like crazy eyebrows.
that's
Yeah, 'cause
the chick escaped from his basement or some shit.
yeah, there was one that she came out the front door or whatever, and that
Yeah.
black guy was saying he was getting his Big Mac or something. They were interviewing him, and he was coming back from McDonald's, and he heard the girl screaming, "Help me, help me," or some shit like that. It was a viral interview that went
Yeah.
around, just the way that the black man was explaining it.
Because David Parker Ray got caught kind of the same way. A chick escaped and ran butt naked to one of the neighbors' house and knocked on the door, and the police wound up coming and finding everything. But yeah, he had like a whole video that he would play when they first wake up, and it was
oh
like I said,
yeah,
it's very It's pretty
gain
unsettling.
consciousness. Yes, that's true, and it would kind of explain
Yeah.
what's about to happen and what
Yep.
what you know. Oh yeah, boy, that would be freaky as fuck.
Oh,
dude.
Ariel Castro. Joseph
Ariel
is the
Castro,
one
yeah.
who kidnapped his daughter for 20 years
Yeah,
and built
Ariel-
like a underground
Right.
basement thing.
Yeah, the Castro guy, like he had him living. You know,
3
like I
of
said, he
them.
impregnated one of them. You know, had his kid and
Yeah.
all, and it's crazy right there in the neighborhood too. Just had
Yeah.
you know hostages. You know, it's nuts. But yeah, like going back to that one I'm at, you wake up, they got a videotape playing of this freak telling you what he's about to do to you as you're chained to a fucking wall, you know, and it's just telling you all these horrible things that's about to happen. This is what's going to
Yeah.
happen. You're my slave
It's like the
now,
Saw
basically.
movies.
And he,
Exactly.
like, gave them like a form to fill out that would like basically they had to explain when their period dates were
it
and
was-
Oh my god.
you know this and that and dude he was a fucking nut.
When was this? Like years and years and years ago?
Yeah, when did
I
he
don't
get
know.
caught? He
don't
died in
know.
2002, so
Okay. Well, Kristen, you got a lot of catching up to do. I know you're big on them serial killers.
I've
and all
never
that
heard
shit.
of that one. That's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I know a
It'll keep
lot.
you up at night, especially a young lady, because that's about the age he was taking them. Was your have your ass locked in a container?
he was
Chained
caught
to
in
the
I
wall.
think-
89.
I think knowing all of the things that I know is kind of like saving myself. I swear to God, I look like a schizo when I'm in public. Like, there's
Look at
no
that.
way you're sneaking up on me. It's just not going to happen.
I hear you. I hear you.
So
That's a
I
good-
know all of the ways to avoid things like this. Just don't talk to anybody.
Mm.
That's the
That's
thing.
that's a
Don't
good
even
way.
say hey to somebody because there's some
Yeah.
weirdos who you say hey to them and now they're obsessed with you and want to put you
Yeah.
in their basement.
I was gonna say if you don't give Ted Bundy a chance by
Yeah.
talking to his ass, because
Yeah.
it's always the slick ones, you know. They come off
Mhm.
as just good guys, just friendly, like fuck you.
Yeah.
No,
There's
you don't
a
have to-
crime museum in New Orleans I want to go to.
Yeah,
It's about
worry
like
about it.
serial killers and stuff like that.
Are you three
Lord.
Democrats? I am a registered independent. So right now, honestly, I did vote. You know, I voted Trump. I damn sure couldn't press the button for Kamala. So as of right this second, I guess I'd have to be a Republican because the way I voted last go around. But no, I'm
That's-
not registered either one. So that was just a question he was asking.
I
I am
sent you a
not
link to the
a
picture
Democrat.
of David Parker Ray's torture chamber. And the second
Yeah, let's-
picture is what you would wake up in.
Oh yeah, let's pull it up.
I need to find
Kristen,
a
this is-
documentary. I need to watch
This is where you're going to be, Kristen.
No,
So watch
why
yourself.
would you ever try and put that in the universe?
Which one is it? That one there. So this is our buddy here.
That's
A
him.
friendly looking guy. You know, if he approaches you at the feed store while you're buying some corn for your chickens.
I ain't
mean,
talking to
You'd
him.
never suspect anything.
Hey, pretty lady.
Ugh.
That's
And
his
this is-
toy
oh my
box. He called it.
God.
Wow.
So there's little things
Everything.
and Lord have mercy. There's just so much going on in that picture.
Dude,
And what else we got? So that's where your new home would be.
look at all the locks on it.
Yeah, that's that.
And this
Where was
is
it at? Was that not
boxy with
suspicious to anybody?
Boxy. Well, because he had a big property and it was
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
off on his property. He was in New Mexico, built a soundproof trailer. He called it his toy box, filled with devices used to torture victims. Investigators believe he may have harmed dozens of women over several years. Arrested in 1999 after one victim managed to escape, alert authorities. And you see it inside the trailer, man. They had detailed journals, recordings, and like they say, evidence that there probably was numerous victims this sick bastard had. But
Yeah, and then next picture is the box where you sleep.
yeah,
It's the
that's what it
sleep
is.
box.
This is
Oh, they just sleep in there.
yeah. They shove you in there. It's carpeted. I mean,
I mean,
you
yeah.
know. Let's go back to our buddy. There he is. Look how friendly. That could be your grandpa. You know, just torturing women on the side.
Just looks like a trucker asking for gas money, you know.
That's
Yeah,
oh my God, these fucking sick people, dude. Oh well. All right.
it's crazy.
Yep. Well, let's wrap it up. It was an interesting one. We appreciate y'all tuning in. If you hadn't subbed yet, hit that subscribe button for us. We appreciate it. And fuck, we'll be back in the next couple days.
Show
Till
will.
then. Yep. Y'all be good.